What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Post-Gazette Pirates YouTube channel. Colin Beasley coming to you live with another edition of the Pirates Farm Report, where we talk about every single Pirates minor league team and the standouts from the last week of Pirates minor league baseball. I'm going to talk to you guys about Konnor Griffin today, which I'm sure will have some interest. But first, I want to give you guys a reminder. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to the Post-Gazette Pirates YouTube channel. And you can find all of my work and Noah Heil's work covering the Pirates on Post-Gazette.com. Highly recommend getting yourself a digital subscription so you can read all of our work and all of the work from our colleagues that they cover: the Steelers, the Penguins, Pitt, high schools, all things Pittsburgh sports. And you can also read all of our colleagues' work that don't cover sports, that cover everything else that happens in Pittsburgh. There's some really, really interesting stories about elections and dark money and a whole lot of interesting things that we don't necessarily cover in sports, but highly recommend giving that a read at post-gazette.com. Without further ado, let's talk about Konnor Griffin today. Konnor Griffin, the Pirates' first-round draft pick last year, and someone we've talked about a lot on this channel, is officially the number one prospect in baseball, according to MLB Pipeline. Number one overall, better than anyone in the Pirates system, better than anyone else in all 30 minor league systems. Konnor Griffin, number one. Now, you may be wondering, it's just a random week in July. What happened here? How is Konnor Griffin suddenly the number one prospect in baseball? Well, here's what happened. Griffin entered the season at number 43 overall, and he's performed as well as he could have possibly imagined. We'll talk about his stats in a minute, but they quickly realized that he was better than the number 43 overall prospect in baseball. So when MLB Pipeline did its midseason updates, they bumped him up all the way to number 13. And recently, with the MLB draft, with a whole bunch of new names coming into various new systems, they reshuffled various teams' top 30 lists. And they determined that Konnor Griffin should be ahead of Bubba Chandler. And Bubba Chandler is already the number 5 prospect in baseball. So if you're going to move him ahead of the number 5 prospect in baseball, he's got to be somewhere in the top 4. With that, they determined that he should be the number 2 prospect in baseball, just behind Red Sox prospect Roman Anthony. And Roman Anthony has officially played in enough major league games that he's no longer considered a prospect, making Konnor Griffin the number 1 prospect in baseball. In the article where they announced this move, which I recommend reading, MLB Pipeline said that this was an unprecedented rise for Griffin. This is something that's really new. Again, he's 19 years old, and he's the number 1 prospect in baseball. He's batting .332 this season. He's got 13 homers and 55 RBIs at Low A Bradenton and High A Greensboro. He's pretty much had as much success in Greensboro as he had in Low A. And since he became the number 1 prospect in baseball, this happened on Thursday, Griffin has just gone out and batted .500. He's gone 8 for 16 with a double, a triple, 2 RBIs, and 4 runs. He's playing really, really well. I'd say I'm very interested in seeing what the Pirates do with him, considering they haven't had a position player prospect like Griffin in a long, long time. It's going to be interesting to see whether he spends the rest of the season in Greensboro or whether they attempt to bump him up a little bit faster, because he's played extremely, extremely well in Greensboro. For me, I'm hoping that we get to see Konnor Griffin play in Altoona at some point in the end of the year. I'd say that both as someone who selfishly wants to see Konnor Griffin play. Altoona is a whole lot closer than Greensboro, and I'd like to see this kid play in person. But also, I think it'll be interesting to see how Konnor Griffin performs against a higher level of competition. A lot of players can play well in Greensboro and struggle in Altoona. I'm anxious to see how Griffin responds to the step up from High A to Double A pitching. So give me your thoughts on what you think they should do with Konnor Griffin. It's certainly something that we're all watching with great interest. Team of the week this week is Griffin's team, the Greensboro Grasshoppers. They took 5 of 6 from Brooklyn, which is the High A Mets affiliate. And Brooklyn had come into the series as the Grasshoppers really their only real competition in the South Atlantic League's North Division. Brooklyn, if you remember, they won the first half of the season by a half game over Greensboro. But Grasshoppers beat up on the Cyclones last week, taking 5 out of 6. Greensboro now leads Hudson Valley, which is the Yankees affiliate, by 2.5 games in the second half standings. They are in a really good position if they want to make it to the championship series at the end of the year. Some records this week: AAA Indianapolis is 61-40. They also took 5 out of 6 last week. They're in first place in the International League's West Division. AA Altoona is 46-49 overall, third place in the Eastern League's Southwest Division, but they are currently leading the Southwest Division for the second half of the season. It'll be interesting to see if Altoona can make a playoff push. They haven't made the playoffs since 2018, so it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the season goes for the Curve, and interesting to see if Konnor Griffin helps them at some point. High Greensboro has the most wins in minor league baseball, 67-28. They're in first place in the South Atlantic League's North Division. And Low A Bradenton is 44-51. Going to get into the starting 9 as always, but first and foremost, I'd like to break for a word for our sponsor, Grenowalt Roofing.
Hey, Pittsburgh. When you think of great roofs, you think Greenewalt Roofing Company. With over 20 years experience, Greenewalt knows your roof is your home's first line of defense from rain, wind, snow, and ice. That's why Greenewalt Roofing's standard for perfection is so important. You can trust that their team of experienced installers will treat your property like it's their own. When it comes to roof replacements, Greenewalt Roofing is Pittsburgh's only choice. Visit greenewaltroofing.com today or call 412-314-8882 to schedule your free estimate. PA contractor number 36262.
This week's starting 9 starts with the Pirates' other top 5 prospects, Bubba Chandler, who's still in AAA Indianapolis and still the number 5 overall prospect in baseball. Chandler finished his up and down in July, which we've talked about recently, with a solid start. He allowed 4 hits and 2 runs in 5 2/3 innings against Toledo on Thursday. He had 7 strikeouts. Both of those runs came in the 5th when he allowed a single, a triple, and a sacrifice fly, but still a very encouraging outing for Bubba. Second is his teammate Billy Cook, the Pirates' number 18 overall prospect. He has 7 homers since June 24th after having 0 homers to start the season. He had 3 homers in 4 games against Toledo and homered in 3 consecutive games recently, and now has 7 this season. His average has dipped as he's sought some power, as he's batting .205 so far in July, but still performing well. Third is Jared Triolo, who's on a 10-game on-base streak since going down to AAA Indianapolis, batting .276 in that time. On Sunday, he reached in all 4 plate appearances, going 2 for 2 with a double, 2 walks, and 3-run score. Fourth and finally in AAA is Cam Devaney, a new face on these lists. He's 28. He was acquired from the Royals for Adam Frazier, and he's reached base in all 8 games with Indianapolis. He doesn't have an extra base hit yet, but he still ranks 8th in the International League with 18 homers and 9th with a .903 OPS. We'll be interested to see what he does if he gets a shot at the big league level after the trade deadline. Fifth, going down to AA, Antoine Kelly, right-handed pitcher. He had a bit of a rough start on Friday, allowing 7 hits and 4 runs in 5 innings, but that is the first time that Kelly has allowed 2 or more than 2 runs since May 10th. He's been really, really good, so this is probably more of a blip than anything. He ranks 2nd in the Pirates system with 97 strikeouts this season, trailing only Bubba Chandler and his 104. 6th, Mitch Chebb. He had a triple on Thursday and now has 5 this year. He's the third highest total in the Eastern League. He's the Pirates' number 13 overall prospect. 7th, Shailen Polanco, outfielder at High A Greensboro. He's 21 and the Pirates' number 29 prospect. He's 12 for his last 33, 364 with the double, 3 homers, 5 RBIs, and 9 runs scored. He leads the South Atlantic League in slugging in July and is now up to 13 homers, already a career high for him. 8th, Low A, going down to Low A Bradenton, Edward Florentino, an outfielder and first baseman. I mentioned that the prospect rankings were shuffled a little bit, and nothing was that interesting apart from, of course, Konnor Griffin becoming the number 1 prospect in baseball, except Edward Florentino had a noticeable jump. He was the Pirates' number 23 prospect. He's now considered as their number 6 prospect by MLB Pipeline. His month plus in Bradenton, he's batting .283 with 7 homers, 8 doubles, and 22 RBIs. He homered in 3 consecutive games this week. Finally, rounding it off, number 9, Yordani De Los Santos, an infielder at Low A Bradenton. He's 21 and the Pirates' number 15 prospect. He's hitting .343 during his current 8-game hitting streak, and he leads the Florida State League in hits in July with 24 hits. that'll do it for this week's Pirates Farm Report. We'll keep you covered all season. Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.